And also I think you have to trust that you have a great book worth sharing. A lot of people feel that they, maybe nobody will be interested in my book, or maybe is it just me? Because writing's a very lonely process. I'm sure you already know all that. So yeah, you think, you're just sitting, like I live in the middle of nowhere. You have no idea what I can see outside these windows, but I can tell you there's no people out there. And of course I live on the other side of the world from you guys as well. So you have to have that trust and that, and expect that the universe will repay you in kind. I always try to use humour and when I'm talking to my market, and I try to be very patient with people. So are there any questions about talking to your market, the right market for you?
Well, we're here, Susan. You see us wiggling.
I missed that. Sorry, Frances. Could you repeat it?
I said, that you have our attention because you see our videos and you see us wiggling.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I like what you were sharing about, kind of having that persona, a little bit different. I was always taught that as I'm writing and as I'm sharing stuff, and that's why, I have my Facebook fan page, which projects my business presence and stuff and things like that. So with that, people kind of get that presence about me and what I'm about, so that way I can carry that through when I'm writing my books or whatever. And even talking with people, I kind of go with that mindset or that thought process to kind of separate me from personal, and then that way it makes it easier for me to talk and deal with people when I'm in that mode, and then I don't get so hung up, I think. And I think that's what helps me a little bit in doing my blog posts and stuff like that, and doing my posts on my Facebook, Twitter, and things like that.
Excellent. Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think you need to also have that as a safety net as well, because you're bound to find some crazy out there who's going to attack you, and you need to be able to have something you can step behind, and having that persona there, that your professional face, is quite different from the person that watches TV, takes a dog for a walk, and that's I think for your own well-being, it's quite important. So, yeah, I think so. Anyway. But of course, you've got to be yourself, and you've got to be human. So, it's finding the balance, I think.
I really like.
Good, very
good. Remember Go ahead.
No, I just like use humor and be patient, because you have to do that with anything.
I was going to say, I remember in high school, I took a course in creative writing. Anyway, the teacher gave us each a topic and said, change a flat tire on the interstate. And I said, well, you pull over to the right side of the road, you raise the hood of your car, and you sit on the fender with your leg extended and your skirt pulled up, and stop the first man. And the whole class was cracking up, and the teacher gave me an A on the project because I had humor.
Exactly right. Good on you. Well done. And obviously nice legs. So here we have some common issues when you come across writing, and you'll find these apply for blog posts, they apply for any type of writing, but they especially apply for when you're going to tackle an ebook or a book of any kind. So we always begin with a lot of enthusiasm, but it's hard to keep focused. People go off track, they lack motivation, they give up when the excitement dies down, and they lose focus of who their audience is. So that's you're going to get my thing. Now I want to show you, I'm going to have to turn my camera so I can see that you can see. Doesn't make any sense. There I am. So this is what I suggest you do is you create a working title, and that is pretty much a title that you're just going to focus on for the moment, that you can change later. And what I do here is, you can see, if you can read that, that's my working title, the top 10 things happy grandparents never regret doing. It's on a piece of paper. It's actually the back of an old calendar, and it sits beside my desk over there, or next to my big screen computer, where I can see it all the time. That was probably the best piece of advice I've ever been given about writing, because every time I sit down, I look at it over there. It reminds me to stay on track. It reminds me of who my audience is, who my readers are, and it reminds me of what I'm going to be talking about. So I would suggest that you do that for every book you write. And then the second point I've got down here is, that, again, keep that mental image of the person who fits your target market perfectly, and imagine them reading your book. Yeah. And when you're writing and you're adding content, would even suggest perhaps you print an image off, from something from the internet you could find. You can always change this, so it's not set in concrete, but it will certainly help when you're writing. It'll help you stay focused. And like Frances and I have a very similar target market, and we can bounce ideas off each other, and we can certainly network and share, because Frances' target market is going to be interested in my stuff and vice versa. But yeah, all the time I'd sort of think, to keep you on track and keep you motivated, do those two things. Using journaling and what I call unblocking techniques when you get stuck. The next slide actually covers that in more detail, so I won't talk about it just now. I also suggest you create a personal affirmation based on why your book is important and what issue you're going to solve. Read that every day. Keep it on a note next to your computer. Remind yourself of why you're doing this. We didn't really talk about solving an issue, and that tends to be something I look at more with blog posts, because you need to provide information as well as entertainment. But it's really something, I think is quite important. Again, going back to my topic with the grandparents, I find that a lot of grandparents feel that they've been left behind with modern technology. Nobody understands teenagers. I mean, that's just part of the course. But you need to sort of develop a relationship with your grandchildren. And part of the reason is children need as many responsible and loving adults in their life as they can possibly get. And I think that as grandparents, we have a really important role to do that. So that's part of my affirmation process and part of why I write. Again, of course, make sure you edit very well. I think we need a whole webinar on this, because editing, I can't even tell you how important editing and formatting your book is if you're publishing. But at the end, enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey as much as you're going to enjoy the end product as well. So I think that's really important. Has anyone come across any issues when they're writing at all? Good. All good writers. Excellent. Well done.
I couldn't find my mute button. No, I'm not an excellent writer. I have trouble finding keyword and using keyword research.
Okay, I would probably tell you not to sweat too much on that. Google are too smart, and there was those people began to do what they call keyword stuffing. So the first paragraph had more keywords, that had more adjectives and adverbs than you could possibly imagine. And Google was like, that's just crap. People
They don't talk that way.
Exactly, and people don't want to read it either. So Google search engines can't speak a language, but they understand words. So use your keywords. Certainly use your keywords, again, keeping in mind who you're talking to the whole time and the language that person might use. And, be clever. I might say grandparents, grandfathers, grandmothers, grandkids, grandchildren. But Google's search spiders are not stupid. They'll work it out.
Can I jump in and say something? Really
Sorry?
quick? Can I jump in and say something?
Stand on you now.
I was going to say something I was taught is if you are going to use AdWords and you want to use them in what you're doing, spread them out throughout the whole course of either the blog post or the book or whatever, but change and use similar ones and use relevant ones that are similar, and so that way, and go back to what you were saying, look at your flow and what you're saying and keep it natural, but still you can still put them in there and it will still make it work. But don't stress over it either. That's the other thing I was taught. Don't stress over it either.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you know, that's people trying to trick Google all the time, but Google are like 10 steps ahead of all of us. So yeah, be natural and do what you do. One of my websites is about dog care and training. That has always done very, very well. And I think because there's two techniques I'll just share with you quickly now. It's because when people type in their search engine, they either use the word dog or puppy, don't they? So clearly that they're the only real keywords I need. And whatever I use afterwards, whether it's training or healthcare. What my mentor taught me was that you can write your blog post and do this, just you need to only do this once, because once you learn the technique, you'll do it. You don't need to check it. But he says, write your blog post, save it somewhere on your computer, wait 2 weeks, and then go back and using the search on your computer, try to find it.